4, 3, 2, 1.
Go.
Hello, what's up? How you guys doing? Welcome to apartment 814. Already fudged that up. Okay. But hi,
Whoa.
how you guys doing? I already fudged it up. That's okay.
Yeah.
Today's a special edition for apartment 814 because at the last minute we've decided to do something that was something that was supposed to happen maybe later on, but I didn't know we all had the capability of doing so.
That was need to know information. You did not need to tell him that was last minute. Just ignore what he said, guys. We had this plan.
Professional podcasters here. EA on Anima. And we are coming at you live from the East Coast, all of us actually.
So
we might be on different
Tri-state area.
But we're all
we're
here.
definitely all here coming at you 10:30 a.m. this morning.
So
It's kind of rainy, a little bit dreary, but
So
we're here to talk to you in your cozy home about the things that we care about and the things that you might also be interested in as well.
hold on now, because I didn't show them the surprise yet. Ladies and gentlemen, in the first time, you see this as the regular podcast view, but now
Really?
we have cameras. You're all here. And this is what I mean by it just came up. But let's start with the introductions. Anima, thank you for introducing us in the proper way. How about we know who you are first and foremost with the most professional background that I could see?
How so?
You have books. You have books, man. It's the bookshelf. The bookshelf in the background and the stuff and the collectibles.
I'm finessing it.
I mean, there's a reason why the camera is geared towards the right for us to see the bookshelf and all that other stuff, right? That's what you were trying to do, right? Right?
Yes. Exactly. You've figured out my master plan.
Exactly. See?
Just ignore the tape on my headphones and the fan that's also halfway cut in. And, we got a perfect setup here.
See? Most professional one out of all of us.
Brought to you by Todakiki.
But who are you, sir?
Well, in West Philadelphia, born and raised, on the playground is where I spent most of my days. Chilling out, maxing. I'm the Anima. I stream on Twitch. I've made YouTube videos. My oldest YouTube video is about 13 years old. Yeah. And then, I come in and I co-host the podcast as well. So if you guys are here for a good time, you're going to definitely get one. We're going to be talking about a few things that you guys probably are expecting us to talk about because at least in gaming news, it's kind of a big deal. So, just chilling. That's all I am about. So what about you, Sync Weaver? What's your deal?
Oh, I'm just here, guy. I'm just the guy who manages the channel, But in all other cases, hi, I'm Sync Weaver. I'm actually veering my way away from the 14 community, I want to say, but I'm still going to be doing videos on that stuff. I did say that I would still be doing the lores and stuff on that, but I am trying to become a variety channel in that case. What's up?
Oh, okay. I was about to say, wait, what happened? Why are you going away from 14?
Oh,
Probably
variety
the same
channel.
reason why video game dunking went away from the
League
of Legends.
Yeah, see, sir, up there, I really didn't.
League.
So I just wanted to stretch my wings and fly, I guess, because there wasn't really much going on in the 14 community. If you guys notice, there's like a League community, a Fall Guys community, an Among Us community, a WoW community. But when you look at the 14 community, it's pretty small, and it's not really nothing's going on. Even the biggest YouTubers are not really doing anything, and that worries me.
That's surprising considering that 14, I think, is second in ranking behind WoW on MMOs.
Yes.
It kind of is. It's kind of astounding that it managed to set itself up that way, and then it just has so little hype around it. It's weird, but
right.
Not every community is as loud as others. It just happens to be like the cadence of the community.
Right.
But
That's a good way to actually put it. So, no, yeah, you're absolutely correct. And it's not just because of that. It's also because I've been like real interested in other things. Like whenever I throw on like a Smash stream, I get Smashers and people who are like in Final Fantasy are just like, oh hey, just to say hi and just leaves, and it's like, all right, bye.
that's facts. If I play anything other than Smash, people may swing in and say hi. I get it. I'm the same way. If somebody's not playing a game that I like, probably not gonna watch their stream.
Right. So,
Unless it's somebody I really like. And even then, it's not like I'm super engaged. So people are just like, there's a million, I feel like, choices on Twitch at any given time, especially if you follow a lot of people. You pick and choose, you know.
all right.
It
So,
is what it is.
So, who are you, Skeptic? No, Skeptic is over here. Hi.
Oh, who are you? Hey, what you gonna do?
What the? Oh.
Hold on. Before you
Skeptic, oh,
start,
wow.
Skeptic. Sync. Me and your videos are mirrored on Twitch. So Skeptic is actually to your opposite way on my screen.
Mine's mirrored.
Oh, because on my
Just
screen,
you two are
Sync
fine.
is over here. Yes, I'm talking to you.
It's all mixed up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Discord. You're the best. Give us all the same. Give us all the same signal. Why won't you? Well, how you doing, Skeptic?
I would like to ask. I'm doing pretty good. I just want to ask, why do you all have better cameras?
I don't know.
Why is my camera so trash compared to y'all's? That makes me upset.
You gave me the laptop. Don't complain.
Like,
that makes me even more upset. I'm just like, what in the nonsense?
I mean,
I have no idea. But I'm doing pretty good.
I have a Yeti blackout, bro. Like, my camera is booty compared to the mic.
I don't know what you got. You don't have to worry about the mic. I mean,
the lighting in my room's good because it's sunlight. That's all I can tell.
It could be. You know what? It could be that. And my lighting is garbage because I'm in this dark, damp grandma's basement corner.
Yeah, two of us have like pro lights just blaring in our faces.
It's like Panic's like, oh, I just so happen to have this professional light. I'm just like,
it was like, hold on.
That's hilarious.
But you know, I'm here for the harmony and the discord.
Discord.
I mean, we're starting some chaos.
Panic.
Stepping off the Acropolis to start some pandemonium. Don't bring limp raps to a pimp slap symposium. Wait, symposium. We had to start with the biggest word lines in ERB, didn't we?
And me and Panic out here. No sponsorship. Yeah, I would love to get the sponsorship from them. Right, but no, not that. No.
Oh, there's our first sponsorship. Is it behind you? Holy crap! I didn't even.
No. Our headphones. Our headphones is what I was talking about. They're both JLab brand.
Oh,
yours is PlayStation.
Oh yes. No. Yeah, sorry, I got that studio quality Turtle Beach headset here.
Oh, my Turtle Beach is broken.
I mean, I could get the studio JLab once. I didn't intend. Turtle Beach is the WoW of headphones.
Apparently. I don't
sponsored by Bose, yes, right.
I'll be honest, this was given to me by my dad because he was like, "Oh, I got an extra pair." He pulls out this big studio. What do you have to do with it? What do you have to do with that? Like, oh, I walk around with it.
Quick, everybody, pull out your pair of Raycons. I got my pair. What about you guys?
Nope.
If we all wear Raycons at the same time, they'll offer us a sponsorship.
Their sponsorship's pretty okay.
Probably.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
They actually aren't. They're not terrible.
No, they're not terrible.
I just personally don't like. I don't like the regular headphones. I just
not saying anything bad, Raycons. We definitely would love to work with you.
It has nothing to do with you. I just don't like cleaning out my ears. Like, I want the wax to.
Yes, you have to do it. You have to do it every single time.
So if you give Anima Raycons and they're supposed to be like borrowed Raycon ear, he's not giving it back.
No, I have them already. Like, they're good.
Oh, well, there you go. You already got your sponsor right there. He,
I
he
have
he's already here. He's already your spokesman. Oh, UPS is really sponsoring us. Thank you,
I
Panic.
told you. Yeah.
Thank you,
Oh my
Panic.
god.
Thanks a lot, Panic. Also, how you doing?
I'm fine.
Just
Just so
unmute.
you guys know, I am all my responses and statements are pre-recorded by these three. Don't let them tell you otherwise.
Why is everybody revealing all
yes.
this for our show?
He's
Gosh, the magic is being lost so fast.
All right.
Illusion.
We're gonna have to cut. We're gonna have to cut. We can't do it. Can't do it. Got to
Alright,
pre-record it.
Y'all programmed it.
Cut it.
My
Cut
fault.
it.
This dude's
a mechanical
actually
monstrosity.
really high end V2
AI.
Yeah, he's the AI.
V2.
Oh my god.
You know.
Oh my god. Yeah, we are
What
that
the last
good.
YouTuber is.
We're that good on making a robot, to actually walk around in a virtual setting, act like they're eating. And
Hey man, listen.
Yep.
Wait, I like I was what?
Eating.
Yeah.
Eating what? Y'all never saw any food ever. No food was seen.
Don't make
So
me
what was
program
that?
you. Listen, I could program you to eat chicken. Don't make me do it. I will do
Hey
it.
man, a little bit of Photoshop, a little bit of Illustrator. Has nothing to do with AI.
So today we have a good podcast. I think we're gonna be podcast. Sorry, I have a lot of emphasis on the O.
Podcast.
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 Yeah, Pogcast. One of us is gonna make the Pog champ face. I swear.
If only we thought of that before that we started this, I would have called this podcast the podcast. It would've been
But we're gonna have
Mahogany.
We're gonna have a good time.
Mahogany.
But here's the question. Anima,
Who's going first?
would you be so kind as to take the reins with the first subject?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a lot happened in this past week. We had the State of Play. We had the Pokemon Direct. And we also had the second to last episode of WandaVision.
No, that didn't turn out so well.
Do not talk about WandaVision. I have not seen the episode.
I'm not.
Listen, rule number one. Do not talk about WandaVision.
Yeah, that's honestly been established as I can't talk about spoilers. Everybody's still trying to figure out if they should watch it or not. I'm like, oh, I mean, you should, but let me not spoil it anymore. Last time I talked about the Young Avengers being slowly but surely established, and it hints throughout previous. But even that was getting into spoiler territory, so I'm gonna just veer away from Marvel this week. I know, guys. I know. It's been an amazing and hype 5 weeks of talking about.
I'll take up the reins on Marvel. Don't worry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll say this. My thoughts on the Pokemon Direct. So you guys didn't. Skeptic didn't see it, right?
I'm the only one. I know what it is. It's a Diamond and Pearl remake, but
I didn't see it either.
It's a little bit more. They did their whole hey, it's Pokemon for 35 years thing.
Yeah, they did a 6-minute montage of the ages.
Really?
No, 25 years.
Are we getting that?
Or 25, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
are we getting that Omni region?
No, we're not.
Bruh, why has it not happened yet?
I'll just recap. Just long story short.
Because that would imply that it's over.
I don't know. They are trying something ambitious, though, and I'll admit it. It doesn't look great yet, but it is exactly what people are looking for, in the sense that they want an open world Pokemon at least. And so let's just call it what it is. It was the Pokemon remakes. It was Pokemon Snap, new Pokemon Snap, and then it was.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Pokemon Legends Arceus. So they showed.
Oh, that's what that picture was. Okay.
Yeah, as an open world Pokemon where you actually run around and you have a Sora dodge roll, and you can live throw Pokeballs at Pokemon like a third-person shooter, and still engage in battles.
What is this? Pokemon Dynasty Wars?
right? Like, what is it for the Switch?
It's
Wait, I don't know.
like a new Pokemon, like because they had the open area in Sword and Shield, so Pokemon, Arceus, I'm gonna call it. It kind of just is the open world, catching Pokemon. You actually fight right there instead of going to a different screen because you see like a Lucario attacking a different Pokemon, just not in a different screen or a different setting like in other Pokemon games. So it looks like it's some ambitious project, sure. And I'm
I'm not
honestly,
sure.
yeah, I'm
But
honestly looking forward to that. Than
I'm
the
not sure how I feel about that.
yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely something worth checking out. It's like in the past, it's like this was how the Sinnoh region was, was founded. We moved to this town. There's just a couple new Pokemons, and the three starters are actually from three different generations. They're existing starters, but it's like Cyndaquil, Decidueye, and like Pillup, which is an actual starter from Gen 4. It's like a Gen 2, or Piplup, how do you say it? Gen 2, Gen 4, and like Gen 7 starter. And I was like, okay. And so it kind of explores like the origins of Sinnoh and like Mount Coronet and how they went out and formed what was the first Pokedex or something at least. And so that's the lore here. And you're actually two of the models they revealed are Gen 4 models. It's like the male and female versions of the Gen 4 protagonists.
So May and what's his name?
Brendan,
No, May. Sorry. Dawn. You said Gen 4.
Dawn
Dawn
and
and Diamond.
Yeah.
Dawn and
So
Diamond.
yeah, sure. Yeah. Technically, canonically manga names.
Dawn and Diamond.
I thought it was Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah. Well, he mixed them up, but it's okay. Represent. So that's what they revealed. We don't have a lot of information about it as to how it's going to look. Like a lot of people were excited. Some people were complaining about the frame rate and the way it looked being really poor, but it was like, this is still in development. We might not see a finalized version looking like this. But that's been the biggest interest or biggest topic of interest from the Direct. The remakes are more in the chibi style. So like the remakes are more traditional. They're not in this 3D environment. That's not like gonna look like Sword and Shield or even Sun and Moon. It's gonna look like Sinnoh. It's gonna look like Gen 4 block.
I'm actually happy about that because the remakes, even though it's still chibi, it looks like really upgraded chibi. Like it's not the regular of what Diamond and Pearl look like. It looks really enhanced and it looks awesome the way it does. Like if you were to take chibis from an anime and put them into a game, that's kind of what it looks like. I'm actually really happy about that.
Yeah, and in my opinion, it takes away from this uncanny valley where the more realistic you try to make Pokemon look, the worse it gets because you have this idea that you have all these Nurse Joys, you have all these trainers that all look the same, you have all these people, all these buildings that don't really like look natural. You know what I mean? Like Pokemon never really had a realistic aesthetic in its city and towns. It never really had that. And so you didn't worry about everything looking the same 18 character models being used across the world. You just kind of were like, okay, these are NPCs. They're here to deliver dialogue and create Pokemon battles. However, when you get into the 3D aspect, you start seeing the same people over and over again. People aren't doing anything. Towns are just kind of there. So it's like...
Oh, so they actually have to build a living world. That's the problem.
Yeah, so like Sword and Shield had that. Like Sword and Shield actually put I put some effort into their towns. Their towns didn't have just like two buildings and a professor's house and some random building that didn't have a door. But then there's the way out north of the town, which in this case, Sword and Shield was actually impressive with the first town for how it looked. And I will say that art style and their display in terms of like all that, I would say that was impressive with Sword and Shield. With this case,
at least for the towns,
yeah, at least for the towns. I'm not saying that Sword and Shield was like, it satisfied my Pokemon craze or anything like that, but it was impressive, art, graphic, and design wise. I also agree with the whole chibi style. That is also something that I can. Maybe it's the old man in me. Honestly, I think I have a sort of like bias.
Nostalgia.
I might have a little bit of bias for it because my favorite is still going to be Gen 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not. I don't think they're ever going to do a 3D remake of that because they did a pretty good remake already.
Man, Heart Gold Soul Silver was fine. I
Yeah.
think that like the old school sprites even are fine. Like I think that they really did have a thing going for it. And for the longest time, if you really think about games like Kirby, it got by for so long without going 3D. And even when it went 3D, it's still side scrolls.
Yeah.
And there's never been a true 3D Kirby. Sometimes staying true to form just makes sense and not really worrying about trying to innovate the expanse of a world. Like, yeah, you get a 3D movement in the world maps now, which is fine. That's about as far as it's going to go. And that's perfectly okay. Then instead, they tweak powers and ideas and bring back old stuff and just make it more accessible and just they don't fix what's not broken.
They do have a Kirby that is 3D. I forgot what it was called, but
Air Ride?
No. It's
I think Era was the only real 3D movement. There's other 3D Kirby's, but they're all side scrollers.
Over the top 3D Kirby. Here, I'll look it up real quick.
The only other 3D Kirby I can think of was in 2D, and it was like Tilt and Tumble or something.
The only 3D Kirby I could think of was in 2D.
It was 2D sprites. The thing is, they were gonna develop a 3D Kirby game where it was like all directional like attacks and things like that, where it's gonna be more of a, like
found it. But, it's called Kirby's Blowout Blast.
Okay, enlighten me.
So Kirby's Blowout Blast. You play top-down Kirby, and his only ability. Actually, I could just show you on screen. Triple Deluxe is not. No, Triple Deluxe wasn't a 3D. Yeah, that was a side scroller. Yeah.
When we say 3D, we don't. All right, so like there's 3-dimensional models.
So if you guys take a look at like, I don't know if you want to take a look at my
and then there's actual like isometric or
here it is
3D plane.
So
like
if you look at the stream,
yeah,
this is
that's
so
that's like bordering. That's like really bordering now.
Thing though,
like that. I mean, it's still 3D because
but you're right. But his only ability was to absorb.
Yeah, it was just to suck it and blow things out. That's all his ability was.
Oh, that's all they could do. But I'm glad you at least showed me. I'm just saying, like, to create a Kirby game where he could actually use his powers when you have to use Smash Brothers like controls because we're talking about the same company, Sora Ltd. Now. You can't really do all that, like, because it's like up down moves and all that stuff. But if you just give him the star bullet, then fine. This looks like a cell phone game though these days.
No, it's about as 3D as Super Mario 3D Land.
Yeah, that was the but that's basically what it was because that was for the 3DS.
Well, color me surprised.
I guess technically, yeah, it's the 3D Kirby.
Yeah,
I mean
technically,
but the thing is though, even Mario 3D Land was more 3D than that. Like,
yeah, because you ran around like you went omnidirectional in each of the areas.
Yeah.
This not that it's not that, but like it's just not functioning as that. Like it has the potential to do that, but it's clearly not a function of the game to just because Mario would traverse all aspects of his 3D world. So Kirby's not doing that. He's moving in 3D, but
Yeah. So I mean, that's just one. That's like the only one though. So to be fair,
I'm fine with side-scrolling Kirby. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm content with it.
All I'm trying to get across here is that Pokemon doesn't have to go into the expanse of 3D when they don't necessarily have a foundation built on that. Like the open world version of it is what I would expect to be an actual true like transition into 3D. But considering the old games used to just be you moved up and down, left and right, like the game didn't have the realistic base to go from that to a 3D world because it still lacks like a soul. When you go to these towns, they might look pretty, but the people don't do anything. You know what I mean? They don't hold their own conversations. They're still just like they still serve the same functions. The game still primarily focuses on the battles, which people are still complaining about. And I figure I'm like, well, if you're gonna go all out with like 3D character models and do all this stuff, you want to probably animate the attacks, and that's gonna take forever because it's 100,000 attacks. So it's like,
Yeah.
all right, you guys should probably just scale it back. Like, keep it simple. The chibi style, I'd live with that if that were what it just decided to be from now on. So instead of trying to incorporate these elements of, oh, look at this region, it has all of these details and all of this, and it's supposed to represent this area of the world. Like, well, I mean, Heart Gold isn't going to get that treatment until we do have a Pokemon World game where everything is just like, oh, like, don't worry about it. So when everybody's complaining about the chibi style, I feel like the argument for it is that Pokemon should probably have the more traditional look so it can focus on the parts that matter, which are the actual battles. And I can only imagine that they can do a lot more with a scaled back graphical system, because then there's not so much strain and effort on them creating all the attacks and animations. They can just get all the Pokemon in there, let them do what they do. We only get 4 moves anyway. Keep it simple and give everybody what they want.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about the open world battles in the sense of like you don't go into a separate screen to go to a battle. That seems like it's going to be really flaky is the best word I can think of. And if we want to go into like a 3D area where you're allowed to see Pokemon in the open world and still battle with them, I think Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is like the perfect combination of semi still like the old way they were doing Pokemon games combined with the new 3D like open worldness. Like Sword and Shield was a step in the right direction after Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but Sword and Shield was just like I feel went too far into the 3D format. If they kept the way that Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee looked and put that into Sword and Shield with its open world concept, I think that might have worked better. But that's just me.
No, you're absolutely right. I think
Well,
they're doing too much. Like, nobody asked for any of that.
should
They
scale
just want their
back.
Pokemon. Like, people were more upset that there weren't Pokemon going to be in the game than they were about the upscaled, so what, graphics.
No,
where
no.
people were like,
See,
True.
that
aren't
that kind of
our
destroyed
standard.
it for me. Like, I wasn't really big on the raid battles neither in Sword and Shield. There was a lot in Sword and Shield that I could criticize, but I could see what they were trying to get, which is the reason why I'm not all that apprehensive against it now, because I see what they were trying to do. But I'm actually kind of hopeful for this whole Arceus thing, because I know it's a lot of work for them to step into the more 3D realm in that direction because of having like over 800 Pokemon and stuff. But I just wanted to see progress. Sword and Shield was not that. That's what I
Right.
wanted to say. But let's move on. I think I will go after that. Panic, you said you were. I'm looking up for my sake.
Yeah.
You said you didn't have anything much on the state play, but it had like something to do with it.
I was just going to touch on Final Fantasy VII's part of it. Like basically, I'll get into it, but my topic is not focused on the state of play. So go ahead.
Oh, well, my is not all about the state of play. It was going to be on Final Fantasy, really.
Go
So
ahead. Go ahead.
that's why I'm
Yeah,
saying
no.
that's why I'm saying we
Go
should
ahead.
combine our powers and
Yeah.
so
Really just care about the Final Fantasy stuff.
yeah, that's all I really cared about. Like,
And things the Aeon Anima for a reason.
so Panic, I impose a question. So, how do you feel about the whole reveal of like the extra? I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like DLC in this case, but how do you feel about the whole Final Fantasy news and how they're bringing out more stuff for remake the first part and not really like showing part 2 or anything like that, and the fact that getting actually 3D mobile, I guess, remakes of like 7
of like 7
before
as a whole.
Crisis,
Yeah.
And it's
Dirge.
and its entire franchise.
So I said this to Skeptic on the phone. I'm pretty sure I touched on this one of the streams because I had found out about this information. So I had found out about Ever Crisis, the name of it, not knowing what it was, but the name of Ever Crisis before this all came out. Someone had bought it up. Square Enix had leaked it somewhere, and someone had bought it up on a YouTube video, and they had said that it makes sense that Ever Crisis is going to be their next game towards 7, because so far Square Enix has gone in alphabetical order with their names of 7 series. I'm not sure if anybody knew this. I didn't know this until I saw this video. Advent Children, Before Crisis, Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, Ever Crisis.
Yep.
So they went in alphabetical order since then. He didn't know what Ever Crisis was going to be about. Now we see what it is, and I'm just like, it's a mobile game that seems to be the remake of all 4 of the games, but still, is Ever Crisis the compilation of all 4 games, or is Ever Crisis including all 4 games? Do you know what I mean by that?
I don't know.
I think it's the first one.
It
A
almost,
compilation of all 4 games?
yeah, it almost seems like they're gonna do like before Crisis, Crisis
Stories.
after Crisis, Crisis Core, Dirge, and 7 in like one mobile game or something like that. And I
So
don't know if
Ever
that's what it
Crisis
is, but
compilation. Yeah, right. So we don't know if Ever Crisis is going to be its own game and then include the other 4 stories.
I think it will be.
You think Ever Crisis is going to be its own game?
I think so, because we're moving in a different direction with what's going on with 7. And 7 Remake is going to be its own entity, separate from what's going on here. So I think that it's important to remember that if there's a chronological order to it, this supposedly should be happening right after Dirge of Cerberus events. So if they're trying to canonize it, and he made an appearance, we're going to talk about that later, I'm sure, into that, then I'm almost certain that there's going to be another chapter to the story that we're not going to see anything about until they're well into the development of the other things. So it's episodic, and we have plenty of room to wait.
It makes sense. That makes sense because of what we already know. Panic. Like, 7's story was never complete this whole time. There was still like one primary person, and who's highly antagonistic, who is still alive. So there's that. I think 7 Remake will lead into that confrontation at this point.
I hope it does.
Everybody's hoping that it doesn't. Mostly because, or at least, all right, shout outs to Maximilian, dude. His opinion is that we shouldn't go there, but it seems like we're getting there now because of what was confirmed during the state of play. However, if they fix it, he said, if we can see him fix it and make it seem not as stupid, then yeah, great. But I'm on the same page. I feel like if they just make it a lot more tolerable of a thing, it's not super over exaggerated, then it'll be fine. But yeah, if they're trying to finalize that whole confrontation, then great.
Yeah, I just feel like his story needs to be concluded. Like, it was inconclusive in Crisis Core. And I liked Crisis Core. I really like Crisis Core. And I won't say he's my favorite villain, but I did like him as a villain, even though he was kind of a crybaby in the sense of just following the whole play aspect. And I'm just like, okay, we keep going back to that, and now he was mad at Sephiroth for being the pure blood,
for being that guy. Yes.
for being the one and only, I guess.
Yeah. So other than that, like I felt he was a pretty strong character, pretty cool character aside from that part of his personality. But I would like to see that story concluded personally. And to your question about the DLC, Sync, is I feel like that is not a bad idea, because I just found out, and then maybe they mentioned it in the state of play, because Final Fantasy VII is going to be free next month, download for PlayStation Plus members. So
there's one thing I should say though about this DLC.
Really?
One thing.
Yeah.
The game is free. The game is going to be free. However, in order to get the upgrade, right, to get this DLC, you need to have a PlayStation 5.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that. You need to have a PS5.
Who here has a PlayStation 5? Anybody?
No one.
Anybody have a PlayStation 5?
Look, let's just put it this way. It's not coming out till June, and if the problem isn't solved by then,
we
don't have to worry about it, because we're still really waiting for a game on the PS5 anyway. Like, who has a PS5? I do. Well, what games are you playing on it?
PS4 games.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
PS4 games, Dark Souls, or Spider-Man, right?
God
No,
of
it's
War.
also a PS4 game.
God of War is on the PS4, so that doesn't count.
Until the sequel comes out, like Ragnarok.
Like, it looks good.
Yeah, but
like
it's not out yet.
the upgrade, the 60 FPS that they have for a remake, it all looks wonderful. I would definitely replay the game on the PlayStation 5 when it all comes out and I get a PlayStation 5.
Hey, man.
I must force the segue.
Force
I must force
it.
Because it's entirely my subject. I wanted to ask. So it seems to me, and Xbox Series X is doing this as well with their games. Refrain. Xbox is doing this as well with their games, and it makes me ask the question. They're doing these upgrade/free games incentives for these next-gen consoles as incentive to go out and buy them. Do you feel like that's good enough incentive?
Yeah.
Like free games/free upgrades?
No, let me put it this way. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. It's something I would expect because I don't want to have to buy a game twice if
Right.
the sequels are going to be on the next-gen console.
Right.
The save data carrying over is also important because if there's any other influence to the new games, like for instance, your data influences this sequel, and that if you have this and this and that and this, you'll have this and that when the next game starts. All right, cool. But that would have been great if I could have carried my save over from my PlayStation 4. I only had that save data there. Oh, it'll carry over to PS5. Oh, like I think that if we're gonna be playing the second on the PS5 anyway, then yeah, I was kind of hoping they would have done something like that. Not every game needs to do it, but yeah, I would have imagined if I have to pay another $60 and then another $20 for DLC, I'd be pissed. Is an incentive enough to buy the system? No, but we're probably going to buy the system anyway, eventually. Once we get enough.
But for it to just be a data transfer is one thing. They're literally making a PS5 version, like it's an upgrade,
and it's free.
Right?
Yeah, but
it's not just a PS4 port.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sound entitled, but I think that that's a good move. Square Enix is consistently impressing me with their decisions as of late, as opposed to before. They have to. They got to make
Sony
up really like mangle consumer trust for people who were on the front door of their last major Final Fantasy, which was 15. It sold well, sure, but did we get what we were promised? No. A lot of people are still holding that L. So, like, if they're not doing things like that, then it creates a major issue.
Wait.
A full story without DLC.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
is he implying that 7 Remake didn't deliver?
Well, no, he's implying that 15 didn't deliver.
Yeah, 15 didn't deliver.
Okay, yeah, okay. No, you're right.
Deliver.
Yeah, 15 didn't deliver, but like 7 Remake is doing pretty well, and of course they're going to milk the teats of 7 again. And
yes,
and I mean,
milkable.
it's a logical move. It's a logical move, and honestly, I would say that's something that they're gonna have to go on in order to make their money back. Because so far, the money that they're getting back, which they wanted from Hitman, didn't do all that great. 15 did fine, no matter what people say. 15 did fine in terms of getting money back. I'm saying, did fine.
I mean,
and that's only because the hype in it, the cup of noodles sponsorship, everything that went in it, the commercialize of 15. They business wise they did well. 15. However, as a game, it may not have landed for a lot of people. I'm also trying to be very lenient on the game because at the very least I had some sort of enjoyment in the beginning, so I could take from that. However, 7 Remake is going to be their moneymaker. They're making an entire saga off of this. And I'm glad they're treating it with the amount of respect that I was hoping for. Some people are really scared of what's going to happen later down the line of 7 Remake. However, I do want to get back on the subject of what you were asking, Mark, or what you were asking, Skeptic, because I think I just ran on. But Microsoft is doing something smart as well when they because they're like you get to how far can you go back in Xbox? Like first gen with
Yeah, for
the
sure.
new X-Men? Yeah, like the
Yeah.
new Xbox you can go to first gen to play the games and stuff like that. So
Yes.
so far Sony is doing okay. Xbox is I mean that's a brilliant idea. If there's any kind of criticism, it's Nintendo, where they're just like, "Hey, let's resell the game for $60 and put it back in the eShop." And
Yeah.
I'm a little
I-
bit behind.
I'm still criticizing them for what they did with Tropical Freeze, where they just took it out of the Wii U shop and just put it on the Switch for $60.
Tripping.
So that's my criticism of that. I
They
think,
really need to like make their legacy games a little bit cheaper. Like they really do.
Yeah.
or
they're not-
or do what Sony and Microsoft are doing it. Like, I mean, have a way for even if I have to buy it off a shop, do it cheaper, but maybe have some sort of way of like free upgrade or something. I mean, that would give me more faith in Nintendo, to be
I
honest.
feel like they should have did exactly what Sony is doing right now. Like if you're gonna take it off of the store of the previous console, phasing out that console. If I own it, can I at least get a discount? That'd be great. I don't necessarily want to play Tropical Freeze on my Wii U, as I have my Switch.
Well,
And
I mean,
would like
that's
to play it.
cool.
I'm paying an extra $60 for it. I already played and beat the game.
But
I'd love to
or
be again if it's not even being upscaled for free or less. Well, not less than free, but less or free.
What's less than free?
less than free.
I-
Give me money to play this game.
They owe
They
owe
give you
the
money
fact-
to play the
they're
game.
they're gonna pay you to play the game. Yes, less
I
than
mean,
free.
I've done so much work in 11, but seriously though, I mean, I just feel like I get it, and then we have to bring in perspective. Nintendo's a really small company compared to Sony and Microsoft. They don't make nearly as much money. Like, not even close. They're not in the same ballpark. They're nowhere near. They can't afford to do the things that Sony
Free,
and
you get a
Microsoft
bonus check.
like, I know, right? Get in the mail.
Checks in the mail.
No, I mean, like, Nintendo has to like hold their cards close to their chest. They have to. When it comes to like their prices, they can't reduce the prices. They can't afford to. But when they have a successful launch, they should honor that with some sort of a deal. It doesn't matter if the game has to be $60
Bananama.
the first time,
You get
but the
free.
second, third, fourth time, it's still $60. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
But
Have you guys
Anima,
not?
we get something for $20. We get NES and SNES games for $20 for a year.
Don't give me that. I paid.
All right, but what about
Each and
What
every one of
about-
those 15-cent games are meaningful to us, right?
Honestly, not till they come out with that 64 classic is it gonna really kick in value. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
that's what I was about to say. Like,
Yeah.
True.
like you act like there's not two more huge generations after that. Like between 64 and the GameCube,
Like
those games are going to be outrageous.
If we
Yeah,
can
like-
Oh my god.
if we can
Give
go
me the
back to like
64 titles and then we'll talk.
yeah, if we can get like if they brought in the eShop like 64 emulator, GameCube emulator, Wii emulator, Wii U games, whatever.
I don't
But,
care about those ones.
like-
That game library, if you look back at it,
Six-
is actually
64 GameCube is what I would love to just pop up and for me to
64 was a
take on
treasure
their
trove.
library because those are that in my opinion, GameCube and 64 was the heyday.
Crazy. GameCube definitely would go crazy. 64 would go crazy. But
Yeah.
like, I'm not. This is maybe a hot take. I mean, a lot of people are like, "What? The Wii had?" Slow down. The Wii had a lot of like
Garbage.
what would you call like freeware games or just games where
Garbage. It's garbage.
all gimmicky. They were all
This guy.
They were.
They
I'm
were-
not talking about the first party titles. I'm talking about, and there were barely any first party titles to
No,
begin with.
yeah,
You
the
have
Wii.
the Galaxies, you have maybe a Mario Party, you have Mario Kart for the Wii, and you have what else?
Smash Brothers.
You have Brawl,
I mean, for
And you have
the Wii,
Twilight Princess, which was also on the GameCube.
Oh, Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword.
And that just re-released. So what are we talking about?
Oh, it most certainly did.
I would say.
I mean,
for the Wii.
in all honesty, what's funny though is that them releasing Skyward Sword actually proves that Wii games would work on the Switch. Ironically enough. So
worth porting should just be ported.
People thought that it wouldn't. I'm more concerned about the Wii U.
Metroid
the Wii U games.
The Metroid Prime remake was on the Wii, but
the Wii games are also like, again, we're talking about another garbage library that is already getting ported over. Like,
Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Was
Return to Dreamland was good.
Return to Dreamland. Once that comes over, like, there won't be another reason to play your Wii U. Smash 4 is dead. We're talking like, what other games are really on the Wii U?
Bayonetta.
Let's check.
Bayonetta.
Like
Bayonetta.
Two generations. Oh, Bayonetta. Yeah, all right, I'll give you that.
But wait,
being a third party, they're gonna release their games though. They're gonna release.
Yeah, they're third party. They're not first party.
So we have a whole bunch of games actually for the Wii.
Xenoblade,
Wii Sports
Dragon
apparently. They're coming out with a new. I mean, Mario 3D World already came back out, but Twilight Princess, Country Returns. Don't think Mario Brothers Wii really counts, but apparently Epic Yarn, Mario Kart, Super Paper Mario, Xenoblade Chronicles, which doesn't count, that already came out.
Super Paper Mario is another one.
Monster Hunter Tri is actually a pretty good game. WarioWare. WarioWare?
Not giving WarioWare. I mean,
not giving WarioWare.
WarioWare was fun.
It was fun, but it can be ported. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are all games that they can port.
Yeah, I'll admit that.
Wii Classic or Wii Online. I just need them to get those games that
Heroes.
Tatsunoko versus Capcom.
No.
Third party.
Mario Strikers Charge? Come on.
I know, right? Sonic Unleashed.
No.
But like Mario, actually, talking about Mario Strikers Charged, why can't they just remake that, or have a 3? It was such a good game. I want that game back.
No, what they need? Mario Sports Package.
No, they have something like that.
No, the real one with all his physical activity games rolled into one.
Well, you're gonna have to get
call it Mario Sports Package.
I mean, can we just get Mario Strikers Charged? That game was so fun. It was so good.
It was.
They just need, the Mario Sports Package. I would pay money for it. Lots of it. I actually didn't play a lot of those games.
But like, okay, so the sports package, right? It would have like basketball, hockey, soccer, football,
everything, bro.
Soccer.
But here's the thing: why I'm saying specifically Strikers Charged is because if you analyze that game, it had not only the first time Yoshi spoke again, like they had to get the actor to talk again and make new lines. They gave like each and every one of those characters like animated like personality. The game was just, I don't know what you would define, like bombastic. It was like specifically Strikers Charge, and I get you guys with the whole sports thing, and I get it. However, if they were to focus on one sport so that they don't have to put all their time in all the other sports, it would have to be football. And that game in itself was just amazing. The special abilities, the items, the gameplay, just how you went into, like, you fall from the sky when you start a game. Fall from the sky.
Don't start triggering people who hate Fortnite. All right.
Hey, Sync. Do me a favor. I don't mean to be or seem any type of racist, but I know football is soccer outside of America, but do we have any audience that is out of America right now? Please,
you'd be surprised where my audience come from. You'd be surprised where my audience come from.
Hey, man.
We definitely.
I asked. I said, do we have any audience that's outside of America?
Yeah,
right now?
we do.
Okay.
We have audience across the pond. So they call it football, and they make fun of me for calling it soccer.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I trust me. I know the
Listen,
proper term is football outside of America, but
we
listen,
just
man.
have to be different, don't we?
Well,
Listen, man. I know plenty of streamers who like go like, wait, I have fans in like Australia and Hawaii. Like the heck?
What are you guys doing
Why
awake?
you guys watching me? I've heard that so many times.
and then shout outs to our European viewers. You guys
Yeah.
know if you like the people you guys know and like recognize in chat are from different countries. You just don't know it yet.
Technically,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have plenty from Europe who
He's always
Okay.
they be staying up 3 a.m. to watch me, and I'm like, go to sleep. Just go to sleep. Stop watching me. Go to sleep and wake up at a normal time, please. 'Cause-
shout out to Star Fox fan for being in a whole different time zone when he shows onto our streams. That guy shows up at like 2 a.m. his time. I'm just like, what are you doing?
does he know what time it
exactly.
is?
Like, he stays there too for until like who knows when. He's definitely in DJ hours. I don't know if he just works nights or what, but no idea. But anyway, let's move on. I think we veered a little bit way into the Nintendo realm.
Well,
And
that
it-
was
No, They like-
that was
they
a
like a topic merge.
combination. That was a
I forced the topic merge.
yeah. There was
Yeah,
a
well-
combination.
But we started with like, is it enough to justify the new system? I think we went straight full on into
Purchase.
like, should Nintendo be doing this too?
I would
Yes.
I would say we
The
made
true answer is yes. And we need
I
them all
would
to
say
do
we
it.
made time because I forced a combination on I and Panic, and then we got Skeptic just like skirt butt and
New
came in.
challenger, exactly. I had to. It was the perfect time.
Yeah,
Continue?
It was the perfect time.
yeah. So
All right.
it was all good. This is the free talk, and
No,
hopefully
wait,
the people in our audience.
wait.
What's up?
Panic still has half a subject.
I still have half a subject. So my the one I really wanted to talk about and get y'all opinions on is I found a game that blurs the line between unacceptable story time, but really, really, really good game, both story and play wise. So I
No
told
more
you guys,
heroes.
no, oh my god.
Wait.
I need that game. Anyway, I had told you guys my topic was about Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start with this. You guys know when I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered it the day before it came out. I was not able to touch that game until about a week after it came out. That was one time. I played the game after that a month and a half later. That was twice. I played the game 2 more times last night and the night before. That's 4 times. I beat that game. Side stories included, 100%. 4 sit downs.
Yikes.
So
No.
that is my main problem.
12 hours. That's all I heard.
And basically yes, but that side story, side quest, everything in that game 100% included in 12 hours. But I would be lying if that game was not good. Story and gameplay wise, I would be lying if that game was not immaculate, because it was not hard for them to just basically Spider-Man PS4. Hi, go to Miles Morales. Input Miles Morales, input his gameplay,
Oh,
a little bit on mechanics, and you have just as good of a game as the first Spider-Man. But there's a lot of buts. Anyway, Skeptic, you remember the amount of gadgets that Pete had, right?
yes. This is Ultimate Spider-Man, right?
Yes.
Gadget Spider-Man.
Yeah. Tell me why Miles only has 4 gadgets.
Well, the boy has superior powers.
But I mean, I understand that, and they do make that a really good mechanic in his gameplay. But a lot of Pete's gadgets were made for the stealth parts of the missions, and they kept that in this game. To give Miles only 4 gadgets, but have the same amount, if not more, stealth in his game.
I mean, he can already turn invisible.
Yes,
It's
that was included, but he can't like. Okay, so you remember how the stealth worked in the first Spider-Man.
Mhm.
So add camouflage in that, but still keep the same rules for the stealth. If somebody's looking at whoever you are targeting, you automatically
like-
call it.
Okay, Got you. Okay.
Whether you're camouflaged or not, you will automatically caught if somebody's looking at someone you're taking down. If you're in
Okay.
front. And say actually no, even if you're out back and away from them, if you take them down, somebody's looking at them, you're automatically caught. So that was one of the problems I had. He had only 4 gadgets. He had webs. He has an electric mine. He has holographic drones provided to him by Pete, and he has a gravity bomb, a gravity well, which pulls everybody towards in one swoop. It's not like continuous. It's just one explosion. They all come towards where he put it, and upgrading that disarms them as well. So his gadgets were good. He just didn't have enough. But now I'm going to go into the time for how long the story was. The first Spider-Man was about just the story, not side included, was about what 15 hours long? 12 to 15?
Maybe 20 if you're casual about it.
All right. That's just the story, not the side stuff.
Yeah.
Miles was 5 to 6. Just the story, no side stuff. You include the side stuff, it goes up to a max of 12. I was playing through this game. The second time I picked it up, the second time I played it, I was like, wait, I'm already 50% through this game? Really?
I see where it's going.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yes, and I'm about to go into something that Skeptic mentioned way before. I will say this though, the story was good as short as it was. I just don't think it should have been its own game if they were going to make it only 6 hours. The story was fantastic. He went through a lot of loss. I don't know if you want spoilers, Skeptic. Do you want spoilers? No. Okay, fine.
No.
You're gonna play it, but
Yes.
Skeptic had said, I'm not going to buy this game first release. I'm just going to wait for it to go on discount. I was like, bruh, you are a fan of Spider-Man. It is a sin for you to do that. And
it would just go against. It would just go against what I'd said what I would do, and I did. Ironically enough, I did it again with Cyberpunk. That's the last time. Never again.
Well, to be fair, you were manipulated by Cyberpunk's everything.
Right.
So
right, and it's yeah for like 20 hours. But yes, but it's just like I'm so tired of paying $60 and I guess now $70, but $60 for glorified DLC.
But wait, here is the blurred line I'm talking about. Yes, I do think that this should have just been DLC on Spider-Man. I really do. The story was that short. They could have included that whole game as a
yeah, like 40, 45.
Yeah, $40-$50 DLC on Spider-Man. That would have been fine. But yeah, but it was. I'm saying that because the 6 hour story was twice as long or 3 times as long as the stories, the DLC stories for Spider-Man, which were only $20. So, or 15, I think it was 15 actually. And those DLC stories were really, really, really short and nothing compared to Miles Morales. That's why I said like 45, 50. But do you shell out that money for a game it was good? There was nothing wrong with it except for a few minor glitches that it did feel like they kind of rushed the game. But the game itself was still good. It was really, really
solid.
Good.
It was solid.
Yes. So do you shell out that money for a short, we'll say glorified DLC? Yeah, short game that was good and is something of your favorite? And that is my question to all of you.
Let Skeptic answer first.
Normally yes, but because this is. For me, this is the case of other games / companies fucking up for the rest of it. Because other companies take advantage of that, I would love to just have that. Like, if I could just, in the perfect world, I would just buy Miles Morales and pay the $60 and enjoy my experience because I know for a fact that I will. The only issue with that is that other companies go like, oh, we can take advantage of customers' goodwill, and then you get prime example. I haven't said the name in a while. Fallout company? Bethesda?
Bethesda, yeah.
Bethesda is a prime example of taking advantage of goodwill because Fallout 1 and 2, phenomenal. But then we get to 3, and it was like, oh, okay, it fell a little bit, but you know what? Y'all had two bangers, so we're going to stick this out. And then 4 came out. It's still like 3, just slightly better graphics, not even the same graphics. It's just like, oh, okay, Fallout 4. Okay, you know what? We gonna stick this out. Fallout 5, or I forget the actual name for it, and it still plays like 3.
Yikes.
and they charge $60. $60.
It's difficult.
That is a prime example of taking advantage of goodwill because
consumer abuse.
Yes, and it's things like that make me go like, you know what? No, because was it who did Spider-Man, the new one? Insomniac?
Yeah.
Insomniac, yeah.
Insomniac
the last great moves.
Right. It's on the higher end of reputable companies, which is good. So this is not a shot at Insomniac, but like because so many companies take advantage of our goodwill, it's harder for me to say, you know what, I'll buy this. I'll pay this money because Insomniac's a good company and I thoroughly enjoy this game. As much as I would love to, I don't want to fuel. I want to support Insomniac, but I don't want to fuel that practice.
Yeah.
Because I no longer have faith in it. So by default, as much as I want to, I cannot.
Let me bring up.
I can't.
Let me bring up two different angles here. In terms of lengthening, like whether or not the game's worth the price for the experience. So, arguably, Journey, Game of the Year material. By the way, it was Game of the Year. It was short. I mean, really short. Like,
yes,
3 hours short. And at the time, I believe it was either $20 or $30.
Yeah, that's the difference.
The replay value was kind of there. It was like you would play, you know, if you beat it a few more times, you got more symbols on your robe, and then you saw it 100%. It was probably the only PlayStation game ever 100% because it was easy enough to do. You get the white robe, play around. It didn't have a lot of content though outside of that, but it was incredible. Dude, I'd pay $30 every single time they give me the chance, and I think that like. I'm serious. I think because I think I ended up buying it again for the PS4, and I'll buy it again for the PS5. Like a great experience is priceless. You can pay it every single time. Like I don't want somebody to say, "Oh, is that the case?" and then charge every single time more and more money or the same amount of money if the game itself doesn't age very well. But that's a judgment of the person, not the company. They have to show the goodwill and be like, you know what? This game sold well, we can sell it for less. The real key here is that when you have a situation like Marcus described and consumer trust is lost. See,
Skeptic.
Miles Morales, I think the reason why they pushed it out the way they did was to sell PS5s. They had to move systems because that game looked very attractive. It did its job. It got people hype. And it was exactly what they needed to do to like bring something to that presentation that was a PS5, reveal or whatever you want to call it. Because there weren't really other things that really looked attractive on launch. You know what I mean? I just remember Miles Morales being the most attractive thing on launch. And it also released on the PS4. So,
are we just saying in general, or you just mean launch games? Because 16 looked pretty good. But
it's not a launch
just
title.
from the little bit that we saw.
That's not a
okay.
launch
You were talking about launch titles. Okay. Yeah.
I understand.
Okay.
Let me put a difference.
There wasn't enough games to come out. Well, let me just finish. I'll be quick. There wasn't enough games to come out to really sell me on a PS5. I'm waiting for games I actually care about to come out because none of them are here. And then you have the consumer like trust issue. I stopped buying Sonic games after Sonic or Shadow the Hedgehog. Like you love a franchise enough, you just have this like thing.
Well,
like how Pokemon went. Oh, it's Pokemon. You're gonna buy it. No, I'm not. I actually have
and that's another great example of consumer trust.
I'm not going to buy Pokemon just because it's
Nintendo.
Not
I'm
gonna buy
not going to
Pokemon
buy
twice.
Legend of Zelda just because it's Legend of Zelda. Like, I don't have this obligation to you as a consumer that because it's my favorite thing and I have to get my hands on it, I'm going to spend this much money or I'm going to buy it 3 times. Like, I don't need to do that. I do it because I really appreciate what was given. And if the game is good enough, then I'll do it. However, don't take advantage of that. I don't buy games from certain franchises if they mess up enough. Square Enix has to redeem itself if I'm going to continue to buy their games, right? Like,
Yeah.
15 was a massive betrayal of trust. 7 Remake was an incredible redemption. Does it mean I'm about to be about all this Final Fantasy 7 stuff? Maybe not. Does it mean 16 is absolutely going to be the game I wanted to be? Not necessarily.
Who was?
I don't know if I'm going to buy 16 on release because of what happened with 15.
Okay.
I agree with that.
So
Yeah.
it does
Yeah.
depend on the situation. You have to weigh in what you're looking at.
Like,
If the track record's not looking great and they're just still doing the same thing,
But-
well, people are going to buy it anyway. That's when you should say to yourself, maybe I won't buy this game. Like, if not on release or at all, like later, you know.
but Panic's specific question was, let's say that you already know that the game is going to be quality. Let's assume that you already know that. Are you still going to buy it? Pay full price for it?
That's
Okay,
the
that's
example.
what.
Yeah,
So-
if Miles Morales was a good game, yeah, I'll buy it. I mean, I like
so
Spider-Man.
I don't think I.
If
Actually,
If Journey, okay, let me be more exact. If Journey was $50, would you have bought it?
Of course.
Right. That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm
Okay,
asking.
that was the
Journey-
question. Okay,
But see, Journey was something entirely new, even though it was done by that game company, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
with Flow and
That
no.
game company.
Yeah, it was done by that game company, Flow, and then what was the second one? Just Flower.
Yeah, it's Flower.
Flower.
It had a good track record. It was bringing some innovation to its game design, and Journey looked like it was going to be a huge next step. Would I bought it for $50 and then it'd be $3? 3 hours long. Well, in the beginning, I'd be like, no. But after hearing it's amazing and it's worth a try, even for the high price point, which would be one con versus a million other pros, I probably wouldn't buy it multiple times, but I would still buy it to enjoy it. I mean, they
Okay.
knew what they were giving you, though. They weren't charging $50. That's the real conundrum here, is that isn't a $50 game.
Yeah, but that's the equivalent of what Panic is saying because Miles Morales was full blown 60, but it was nowhere near the length of a full blown game.
Well,
Right.
think about this.
Like,
How
for
long
$60.
was God of War technically wasn't that long.
Boy, God of War went well over. You just mean the story, nothing else?
Sinkweaver, help me out. Did you play it?
what? God of War?
Yes.
Yes.
How long was that game, really?
God of War, if you
I'd say
did
like
all
20,
the
at
side
least
quests, was like
No.
25 hours.
Yeah, with all the side quests.
Yeah.
It was 25 hours. Another.
Yeah, but
Hmm?
but the funny thing is, Anima, is that I just said that Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man with all the side quests was the same amount and worth the
The
60.
same amount.
Miles Morales was with the side quests 12 hours tops. That's it.
So he's like, was Miles Morales $60, right?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
And it only had. So I can see what he's saying because you're getting only like 12 hours worth of content for $60. So
Right.
in that case, that would be like considered a $12 game. And I mean, in my view, that would be
$30 game.
that would be considering the
$40 game.
quality, considering who
Okay,
made it. That's like a $30 to $45 game because
I
of
get it.
how long that is.
It's debatable, but I feel like because it provided so much in that short amount of time, it's worth it.
Oh, he's gone.
Okay.
We lost him.
So like, I have no problem having paid the $60 for Miles Morales. Don't get me wrong, because Spider-Man is my favorite hero. The game, I knew the game was going to be good because the first Spider-Man was good. So I'm very much satisfied with the game. At the same time, I'm just like, y'all could have made it a little longer. It seems like y'all kind of rushed this. And to top it off, there is no reports of DLC for this game. None. Absolutely none. So not to say that DLC would make it better, because technically that's supporting the whole thing that we're trying to fight in the first place. But at the same time, this story was concluded. Like, I can't say the story was left hanging and they'd be fixing that with DLC. They wouldn't. They would literally be adding to story. just like
Yeah.
they did with the first Spider-Man. So I wouldn't mind it. And
Mhm.
I would just want the DLC to play the game more without having to repeat the story,
Yeah.
because that's all I have now is just repeat the story, and I got no problem with it because the gameplay is awesome. I can play it on the higher difficulty. They kind of they kind of give you an incentive to do New Game Plus because there's 3 abilities and a suit that you can't get until you start a New Game Plus.
Mhm.
But starting a New Game Plus is easy.
Mhm.
So it's not really that much of a big deal. They just give you an incentive to start the New Game Plus. But it's oh god. So playing the game over again, no problem. I just would have liked more content to play through with.
Yeah, I get it. I feel like they could have probably scaled back the price, but because I feel like this was the savior of the PS5's launch, they had to like do what they did. I feel like there's a bit of a skew in what really was supposed to happen, what they were aiming for, and what ended up happening due to pressure from publishers and things like that. Like I feel like that one's a little bit more loaded. They don't seem like the kind of it didn't seem like the kind of deal where they were just doing that because they're just like, well, this is a full price game. This is like no. I feel like it was probably planned to be less or be more DLC, but then they probably needed to like make it more due to the timing of the launch. Plus, even just 12 hours tops with a second game playthrough still can add up to a decent $60 experience. Because I've played lesser games for the same price that I just have. Like I know for a fact that there are games out there that don't provide the same experience. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of unfinished games, plenty of piss poor games, plenty of very short games that were a full price tag that sucked. And we've getting a lot more of that, and it's becoming a bigger deal when it happens now because they get so much bad press for it. But like that used to be the reality. Like back when I used to read Game Informer or even Gamer magazine, it was so common to find a game that was listed full price that was garbage. There was so much, and you
Yeah.
don't realize it until you get it. So
This
I feel like
is
if Miles Morales delivered on what it was supposed to be, it's worth it.
Right.
I kind of
Okay.
have like a sort of like I'm with you, but I'm not with you kind of thing because I don't buy games like right off the
Wait,
back
who?
anymore. Who what now?
Oh, okay.
I don't buy
No,
the
no. I didn't know who you were agreeing and disagreeing with.
I agree that if it's a quality game that you should buy it, especially if you're a fan and it's your own discretion. And there's a consequence, obviously, if the game is only 12 hours long and it's still like $60 to $70. But for me myself, even if it's something like that, I have the patience to wait for a little bit. I have the little bit of patience to wait for a good game. Like I really want to play Dark Souls on a PlayStation 5. I'm not spending $800, $1,200 from some scalper to be able to play Dark Souls, and I know it's a good quality game. So there's definitely that's like a console in the game, but even if I had the PlayStation 5, I don't think I would just get Dark Souls right off the bat. I would probably wait for a little bit, see if it can go down in price, because I know how Dark Souls is. If I run through that, I can get through it in about 15 hours. I could literally breeze through Dark Souls in around 15 hours. That's only because I played it obsessively when I first got because it's only a remake. It's not like so many new things. They added a new dungeon, and that's it, which may stretch it to another 3 hours, but that's still like what, 30 hours maybe, or not even 30, like sorry, like maybe 20, 25, 28 hours. I don't know. I've never played the content, but that's still like if I were to get Dark Souls now, it would be $20. Dark Souls the remake for the PlayStation 5 is $70.
Let me say this real quick before you go for it. It honestly, like, all right, you have games like that, which probably when they first released were full price. Now it's cheaper. Now it's being re-released for not that much for a whole new price tag. Bit different of a situation. When you have games like the Legend of Zelda game that released on the Switch, Link to the Past, that game was never $60. It was a Game Boy Color game they re-released, or not even Game Boy Color. I'm sorry.
Link to the Past?
Which one was that one?
That's an
I think
SNES title.
You mean-
yeah, that was SNES.
Yeah.
The sequel, Ages and Oracle, were on the Game Boy Color.
Yes.
But it was the same exact format. those games were cheap. To drop that for $60, it's debatable. The content wasn't there. It was really shiny. It wasn't really worth the price for a lot of people.
Oh, Link's
Because
Awakening. That's a
it
good
isn't
point. That's a good point. Link's Awakening was
Yeah.
like when it first came out. That was like what, $30 to $40, and it was on the
Yeah,
Game Boy.
It never dropped for a high price like that.
Right,
And
and
therefore it
then
was worth it.
and it became $60 when it came out as the remake on the Switch.
Which did have a lot
But-
of quality of life changes.
Yeah.
And it had a whole new look and feel to it. But was it worth $60?
People say no.
I didn't play it. I actually want to get it now that I have a Switch again.
So, I would also say the whole 16 thing. You guys were talking about 16, and I was gonna say depending on who made, because if we're talking about Square Enix, it's not Square Enix the company that you should look at. It's the people behind the game. So when it came to 15, I don't remember who was behind that game. Which
that
is
director guy.
Not the 14 guy.
Not the so like for 14, we're on our fourth expansion coming out. So there's a new one called Endwalker, and
Right.
lots of good stuff is happening. But each and every expansion is like $30, and they dropped like the trailer or the trial goes up to level 60 now, so you can have literally over 100 hours of gameplay because you can have the base game and the expansion for free, and you get to have all these jobs and stuff. So and this is all Yoshi P's decision. This is the director of 14, and he's the one who's doing all the goodwill, making the business decisions for Final Fantasy 14, and the reason why Square Enix is making a lot of money because 20 million apparent players play Final Fantasy 14, and I was like, where's the statistics? Apparently people from Brazil, South America, I should say, South Africa, all of like Asia, including China, Australia, all these places that play Final Fantasy 14, I did not know, and they're basically making money off of that game alone. And Yoshi P is still like free trial all the way up to level 60. Mind you, the max level right now is 80. So
holy shit! Really?
Yep. So it's a free
That's
trial
awesome.
all the way up to level
Wow.
60. You get to play the Heavensward expansion, which is debated to be like the best expansion. So that really hooks you in. So it's like a good business deal. However, he's also the director of Final Fantasy 16. So you got to think
Right.
about what is he going to do
Right.
with that game? Because he's smart. He knows what he's doing, but at the same time, he does not, put creativity on the back burner. He doesn't shove that to the side to make money. He's actually putting an effort into the game.
Yeah.
So
Think Sakurai, people.
yeah, in anime,
Smash Brothers director Masahiro Sakurai be dropping these like massive DLCs for like $6. I don't care how much people complain about how much it wasn't their character.
Well,
put
oh,
so
Smash Brothers is a great example.
yeah.
Into
What's
each and one of
what's
these
the
DLCs.
total price? What's the total price of Smash Brothers for all the characters right now,
So
including base game?
for
Both
the
160?
both
Access-
passes you're talking about.
Yeah, both passes.
So
Is it just 2 or 3?
It's two
just
of
2.
there's two.
It's two.
Okay.
One.
And
It's
so 60
125,
plus.
isn't it?
One,
Sorry, no. I'm sorry. 115, right? 60 plus 50 or 110.
So
60
it's
plus
like
50?
it's like 15 plus 25. Because I think
No,
15 plus.
one's 25.
I thought
I thought.
both were 25.
so $50 if that's the case. So-
No,
So 110.
Yeah, 110.
That's
Okay.
great you're getting though. That game has people
Yes.
really like, regardless of anything you've seen on Twitter, regardless of how you feel,
Mhm.
Super
No.
Smash Bros. Ultimate has some of the most polish I've ever seen.
The most fun. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And
Yeah.
Smash Brothers is a shining example of what you want it to be. In my
So-
opinion, like Smash Brothers is a shining example of that.
So
Like-
Smash Brothers is a good. Well, what were you going to say?
That's just an example of a game that truly shines in terms of sheer like completeness. It's so much extra that we're getting with the DLC, but the game itself is solid.
Right.
Right.
It's not about
Right.
whether your fighter got in, because at the end of the day, it might not even be a character you even use. Let's be honest.
Right.
But it's really about how much effort has gone into the game. It truly immense amount of effort has gone into the game. in terms of quality, like that's a complete game. And for me, I would pay the money for a complete short game over a long, poor, or not fully executed game. 15, we're going back to that again, was a longer game that was incomplete. It didn't resolve. Imagine if Spider-Man Miles Morales didn't resolve for no good reason.
It had a
Like,
I would have been thoroughly
yeah,
disappointed.
that wouldn't have
even if it was
fly.
$40, you would have been pissed.
I would have been very disappointed.
It's just like that's my perspective. Is that I just want a complete game. Like, give me what you said you're going to give me, and I'll make the determination as to whether or not the price tag's worth it. You know what I'm
So-
saying? Whether it's short or not. Because I've played shorter games that are great. I've played longer games that are awful. But at the end of the day, like if there's a consistency of, oh, this game goes free on PlayStation Plus sometime down the line. Well, I'm expecting Nintendo to never do anything like that. So Link's Awakening is probably not going to be anything less than $60 anytime
They're
soon.
the season passes are 30 each.
30
Yeah, that's what I
each.
thought. It's an actual game, so it's $60.
But Smash,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
120.
So
No, I'm sorry.
But-
Wait, I'm sorry. The first one was 25. Okay, so I wasn't wrong about that. The first one was 25. The second one was 30. So
Oh.
it's 100.
So 115.
that was sneaky.
Yeah.
Oh well, not
So-
really. They had it was
but-
like
No, there's an extra character come on.
Right.
yeah.
But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like with if the game and you know what? I guess Smash is a great example, but at the same time, it's ever so slightly an exception because it's a fighting game, and fighting games, the length of time for that is what you make it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But we can use the counter exception being Street Fighter V when it first released, because
Mhm.
that was
Oh,
That was a
oh,
good
you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. Okay, you know what? I take that back. Never mind. Smash is a great example. Never mind.
like it was a full price.
I'll pay 115. I'll pay 115. I'll pay 200 for high quality Smash Brothers, then put a dime onto what Capcom did with that nonsense.
And you know, if you want to talk about Capcom, they're the biggest offenders of dropping whole games for DLC content worth. Like seriously, like what was Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom? But like
Bro,
so
like,
you're talking
6
about
more characters or something.
in Infinite? Oh no, you mean
No, not
Ultimate?
even
Ultimate. No, he's
Ultimate
talking about
Marvel vs.
Ultimate
Capcom
Marvel
3.
vs. Capcom 3. So
yeah,
like they
yeah.
had Marvel vs. Capcom DLC for Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and then they came out with Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which I don't know what the price was, but Capcom does this kind of crap all the time. They have like
and
15
different
different versions of Street Fighter 2. They have they have like 5 different versions of Street Fighter Third Strike. They have 6 different versions of Street Fighter Alpha. They have 4 different versions of Street Fighter 4. So
and they just drop, and then there's Super Street Fighter 4, and then there's like, bro, all of these games cost way more
Ultra
than
Street
they
Fighter
should,
4.
because
So-
they're the same game. You're just dropping the game over and over, and it's like almost in a Madden-like way.
I
They're
mean,
just
it's-
dropping the same game.
I mean, this is a
I agree.
familiar tactic with them. It's like you know how many copy or how many versions of Final Fantasy 1 there is? It's like 20, 23 different versions of Final Fantasy 1. So Square Enix is not familiar with that. They did the
Right.
same thing.
They aren't going to do that with Final Fantasy X. There's 2. It is released on a lot of different
I mean,
systems.
they did a HD version of 10, which I mean I appreciate. I got gifted that game, but I now have 3 different versions of Final Fantasy X because I got it on Steam, PlayStation, and I think
Now we're talking versions, or like how many platforms is it in? 'Cause
I guess
we're
that's
not-
like different platforms. There's 2 different versions, but
there's 2 versions, but multiple platforms.
Right, and
for
that's like
remake.
that's like not really nothing. That's a nothing burger compared to like how many times they sold Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 6. Now they're going to do it for 7, which I mean, they're doing their I guess they're doing their best. Whoever's behind 7 is smart. And
I still think it's Tetsuya Nomura.
you think it's Nomura?
I'm pretty sure he's at the helm at this point.
Because if it's Nomura, then I'm kind of like
It's
sorry,
Nomura
skeptic. I'm
and-
kind of
and friends.
skeptic only because of like the whole entire Kingdom Hearts series.
Well, he's
Haha.
not the only one. It is mostly the entire original 7 team. It's not just him. It's the original team on 7, including him.
Okay,
He just
so
happens to be the director this time around. He wasn't as high up back in the days of 7. Now he
dude,
is.
we gotta get him a camera.
But anyway, the idea here is that like the value is what you make it. But if you get what's promised, you can make that choice with confidence. Am I a fan? Yeah, then I'll buy this, the DLC, the Championship Edition. I bought I've told you guys before. I bought the Sonic Mania for like $80 with all the extra stuff that I don't really need or care about because I wanted to support the decision to actually let the fans make a game. And then they crushed. That was worth it to me. I will pay as much money as I need. Scott Pilgrim re-released finally after it just been gone and they dropped all this merch. $200 easy on this, and that's on more than the game. Trust me, big time. More
Sonic
than the
Mania.
game.
As fast as I go through that game, which is a few hours, I would gladly spend like the money to. I don't know how many different. I have one on the Switch, PlayStation 4, on Steam. If they had like a breakfast cereal of that, I would buy that too. Like that's how much I love that game, and it's only a few hours for me personally.
But it resolves and it's beautiful, and that's all I needed. It's enough stages for me. It's not over the top. It's another short game, another $20 game, another masterpiece. I will pay over and over again. I think that if you complete a game and you deliver, or even over deliver, people will spend more and more money on just that one game than if it's a full price game and it's garbage. You're gonna have consumer trust issues. You're not going to be able to keep selling your games.
One very big outlier of that is Blizzard and how they've been really doing terrible things to all of their games.
They're trying to take EA spot for the worst company decision making in gaming realm right now. Like they're trying to take the belt right now for sheer degeneracy. Like I don't understand what they're doing, but
they're literally in a cage match with EA and they are Activision, but EA, maybe not Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft quit the match and they left. I think they're doing okay now. I think Ubisoft is doing fine.
Ubisoft is a little different. Like I've said this before. Ubisoft is a coin toss, and in that aspect, you kind of know what you're getting into. Like at this point, if you buy Assassin's Creed, you know exactly what you're getting into when you buy Assassin's Creed. Let's not perpetrate it.
I mean,
but it's secret. Sad. It's sad because that game had potential. I personally
Assassin's Creed
that
has one of the most very unique stories I've seen in a long time in an RPG, and just Ubisoft just gets. I don't know if they get lazy with it or they just don't.
I don't know.
Care enough. I'm not sure.
I only know what Assassin's Creed Revelations was, and then after that, it's like, okay, so what are these games? Because
then
beating a dead horse.
That
plot ages ago, and I mean that literally ages ago. Like quite literally, they should have just because really, it's tying people into it, but stringing people along is this frame within frame plot that's going on. Like there's this outside thing that's happening that they need to get to the bottom of. Stop it. Get some help. Like at this point, you've lost the original plot, and you're just trying to do the thing. It was cool at first, and we had probably had a game plan to do all the different ages of history. But like as the game fails to innovate, the story fails to carry that motivation.
I don't think they should have did what they did if they wanted to keep going with Assassin's Creed. Like I think that there was supposed to be an ending, like they were supposed to stop with it at that point with like Revelations, because they
because there was so much urgency.
There was a conclusion there.
Yeah,
and I was like,
let us not forget the true plot to Assassin's Creed. People think it's about going back in time, doing all these cool assassins. Oh no! It was
outside of that, and that's what I mean by there was a conclusion there.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
actually, I'm gonna put that up there. I have to put Assassin's Creed up there for it in the top 5 most convoluted. It's up there with Kingdom Hearts. And I say that with 100% non-bias because like I don't know where you got to go into the past to find the things to save the future. It's just with the aliens and What? There's aliens in Assassin's Creed? Yes.
Yes, apparently. So
Just
Yeah.
listen, I'm still saying like Brotherhood is my favorite Assassin's Creed.
bro,
Yeah.
everything up until Ezio is phenomenal. It's post Ezio is when it starts getting like, what the hell is going on
Well,
here?
to be fair,
Gotta give shout out to Black
pirate
Flag
ships.
in a hella fun game.
Yeah, to be fair, pirate
Okay.
ships.
Prime example. Assassin's Creed is fun gameplay, and they make that their selling point. No one cares about Assassin's Creed story. They want to do the assassinations, run around and be the person.
Yeah.
And Ubisoft knows that. Okay, when I say no one cares, I mean the majority of the. I know you and I do. Yes, because we care about the original story of what it was supposed to be. Now it's like, hey, look, assassinations. Hey, look, different time period.
Hey, look,
Time
ships.
period and assassinations is all that.
They shifted their priority, and it shows in how they're handling it. Again, like I was telling Panic, like Nomura did not plan his story to drag on for this long for Kingdom Hearts. He did not plan this all out.
Yeah, I highly doubt it.
Up as he goes, because how long has Kingdom Hearts been in existence now? You really think this boy wrote out a 20-year plot?
Almost. It's been like 19. Kingdom Hearts 1 came out in 2002. No, 2004.
I should say
like, there's going to be some retconning. There's going to be some changes. There's going to be some inconsistencies, and there's going to be some failures in storytelling if you keep dragging it on.
Okay,
like a plot that takes that many years to resolve is not a good plot. and
breadcrumbs, bro.
The only thing that I can really use as an example of something that resolved very well, because it was planned out from the beginning, and it did take a while to do, but it was a book series, and it's Harry Potter. Did the movies go out as well? No. They did not plan for continuous shooting. Lord of the Rings planned to shoot all 3 movies back to back, and so they're consistent. When you watch them, there aren't inconsistencies that are glaring, obvious problems like Harry Potter was. So, like,
yeah, they do pick right back up. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you can see the difference in what was long-term planning and what was short-term. Oh wait, this got popular. Oh wait, this is a huge deal. Rowling then falls short after the series because she didn't plan for what happened with Harry Potter, and now everything else is like pressuring her to create inconsistencies of what was a consistent story, such as Hermione was mixed. You were not all about inclusion when you started this book series, lady. Don't start trying to retcon it now. That was the argument. People aren't always going to plan ahead. Things change.
Hermione is currently mixed? No.
The fans proved her wrong. She was BSing. The fans proved her wrong with the very words she wrote. But she was trying to act like that's what was happening because she was under scrutiny for not being inclusive of her books.
Yeah, see, creators get into, sorry about this, panic mode real easily when they get called out for, like, hey, you didn't, there wasn't a black guy in your book, and they're like, but she was mixed.
What if I told you Hermione was mixed?
And then like, it's like, what kind of bullshit
are you talking
like, what?
Times. It's really more like it's the Disney effect. Because Harry Potter became such a big deal and a lot of people identify with the characters, now they're starting to feel like, oh, well, where is the Black Disney princess? You know what I mean? In the Harry Potter world. It just doesn't really add up, though, because, well, Rowling wasn't thinking about all that. It wasn't as important when she started this book series. It just wasn't the... And you know what?
But you know what? That's fine.
She has to own it. Because people will be more upset if she decides to change it now than if she stuck to her guns, which was
she should have just said, you know what, I wasn't on that tip back then. My bad. And it would have just the whole crisis averted.
Well, let's superimpose that to plots. Yeah, you should just say, my bad. I didn't think it that far ahead. Okay, like the story isn't gonna be perfect because I didn't like write out a 20-year, business plan for this story. I'm sorry,
but. That is not an excuse for bad writing, which is where Assassin's Creed is headed.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a great yes. This is my personal opinion, but it's going into that ballpark. Assassin's Creed, what? Wait. 9 or 10?
You played the most recent one, then, right?
Oh, I stopped giving them my money at like the American Revolution one.
Oh, because
But I've seen I have watched every single playthrough of every single game.
So, what do you think about the Greek one and the Egyptian one?
The Egyptian one actually Origins was actually okay. I take that back. Origins was actually good because it's supposed to be the very beginning, which makes sense. That's why it's based in Egypt. It makes perfect sense. So, in terms of starting the plot, that one was fine. So, in the most recent years, Origin has been the one that's on par. The story-wise has been on par with. I still think Ezio's story was better because his was over the course of 3 games.
Right.
But as a standalone game, Origin's story was perfectly fine. The Greek one, not as good a story, but the gameplay was good. This new Viking one is just like they're not even assassins, bro. They're just Vikings. They just run up into town.
Yeah.
They run up in your village. I'm just like, what's this?
Pillaging?
Yes. and it's just like, and Ubisoft, it's fully intentional at this point. They know what they're doing. They're like, okay, we're going to make a new time period, and not even new gameplay. We're going to make a new time period and call it Assassin's Creed begin 1955. And there's going to seriously, that's how it's going to be. And they're going to just change the time period, have the same gameplay elements, charge $60-$70. They're going to charge $70 because new PS5 graphics. It's going to play the same. But in their defense, they've done this so many times. You are the one at fault for purchasing the game. So you know what you're getting into. So that's why I said 50-50. I don't like that Ubisoft is doing it, but they've done it so often, it's not a secret. Therefore, you know what you're doing when you buy Assassin's Creed.
You know what? At the end of the day, Yoshi P, I hope he delivers on Final Fantasy 16.
He probably will.
I hope
he's got new 14 under his belt, which is good. That's what you want to hear. That's what you want.
I did not know this, but that man has been on the project, or at least he started going on 2 years after 1.0, which was a disaster. So
yes.
After that, he was working on and helping out with the story. He's not the one who was creating the whole story. I forgot what her name was. She's just amazing, just to say. Thanks. Thank you, Trey, for the sub. What's amazing though is that it's been 8 years and the story has been consistently good. Just it all connected. There isn't like rules that they're just adding out of nowhere. It just throughout the 8 years, 14 has just been consistently good. There hasn't been any kind of confusion. So they follow their own rules within the story. And I say that's pretty hard. Honestly, that's pretty hard to stick with a story for like 8 years and keep it consistent with the same rules. And if they have to add something new to it, it's not bullshit. So
I mean, hard is subjective, but I get the point you're making.
Think about it. Think about this.
You might as well say having proper continuity mad difficult. I'm just like, well,
I mean, think about it. Like they went it's easy to go from like, oh, you're an adventurer, you saved the land from an invading force. Then you go north to fight in a dragon war that lasted for 1,000 years that has their own kind of story to it. Then you go to another side of the continent to save two kingdoms or 2 different countries from the same enemy that you've been fighting. And so I was like, okay, so I guess you're just staying the line. You're staying with the rules. But then you go to another world in Shadowbringers. So that's like, you go to another world. How do you get to the other world? Oh, this happened. What's the rules in this other world? Oh, all of this has happened. Like, there's perpetual daylight. There is no nighttime. So how do you get rid of the daylight? Oh, you need to do this. Like, I think what they're doing with the storyline.
So that's what the Warriors of Darkness were talking about. You know what? That's okay. That's good storytelling. I'm not gonna front. See, I didn't know that until you said it, and now I understand why they were so angry when they rolled up talking about darkness. I was like, oh, they're like, light is bad. I'm just like, that's news to me. Okay.
So I mean,
Just think Steven Universe or something. I don't know.
so
Right.
Shadowbringers has probably the best story out of all of them because you go to a different world and it's perpetually light. You have to learn, like, how do they live in that? How do they live in perpetual light where, oh, I need to go to sleep. You don't know what time it is, but it's still daylight outside. So they have to
Hey,
have
man.
like a dark sheet or
You
dark
can-
cover to emulate it so they can
Let's
sleep.
see, like you can live in Shadowbringers world, or you can live in 15 post Noctis comatose.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I feel
Tell
like
me what you
all light world will be cheaper. At least you don't need energy to like keep things lit. You just need
like. Freaking
put on a
demons just rolling up.
What's even worse is that they have these things called Sin Eaters.
I had a nightmare about those fools last night.
So Sin Eaters are wow. Think Sin Eaters as the opposite of daemons, but they eat people.
Yo. And then that just gives me Bayonetta flashbacks.
Like
So
think
good.
of okay. Think of an angel eating a person.
I don't think I want to.
That's basically what a Sin Eater is. Sin Eaters are like light aspect creatures. Any of like the holiest thing you've seen in myth, that's what they are, but they eat people.
Very holy indeed.
So it's like,
That
oh my
sounds
god, you're an
horrible.
archangel. Oh my god, you're swallowed.
Bayonetta? Bayonetta?
They don't have any good intentions. They just eat people. I mean, that's the base. That's the base because you can become a Sin Eater, and it's bad. It's bad, obviously. However, the story is still consistent. They somehow were able to keep this up for 8-10 years now, because 14 is 10 years old at this moment of time.
But comparing an MMO to a single story RPG. Comparing them, okay, MMOs are kind of like I want to say an exception. They're like it's a different. It's like apples to oranges. It's like.
Well, Skeptic, what MMO aside from 14 have you actually paid attention to the story? Like, it's giving you a reason to want to pay attention to it.
Okay, that's true. But like, I mean, just in like he's making the difficulty of proper continuity comparison to, I'm guessing, Assassin's Creed. Well, Assassin's Creed is a singular storyline based on console.
Well, to be fair, Assassin's Creed is older, so it's probably a bit different. Trying to keep that story continuity.
No, I don't know about that. Age does not deter the process of story continuity. We've been telling stories for centuries, so
I mean, true.
Like okay, continuity isn't easy, I'll say, but like too many companies mess it up, and I'm just like, okay, this is to the point where it's like a trend, and I'm just like, no, y'all are just being lazy. Let me tell you, Ubisoft is being lazy. They're being lazy.
Yeah.
And they just don't care because they know if they slap Assassin's Creed name on it, it'll sell. I can tell you right now, that new one that came out, if it wasn't called Assassin's Creed, it would not have made money. It wouldn't have.
It's Viking game.
Yes.
So is it just a Viking game? Yes.
If it was any other title, if it did not say Assassin's Creed, I promise you, it would not have made money.
They could.
That's how basic the gameplay was.
Ubisoft has a name alone, just being called Ubisoft. So if they said, "Hey, here's a Viking game," it's like it's kind of not. It's not Assassin's Creed, but it's its own game.
Ubisoft don't got that much clout. They're not terrible. They're not great, but they're not like.
But they're still Ubisoft.
They're 50-50. I told you they're coin toss. I said that for a reason.
Is a stronger name than Ubisoft.
Like I don't think I'll actually buy another game. Like I haven't bought this Assassin's Creed, but I'm not buying any more because I'm just done with the series.
No, I'm good.
But if they were to make a game that was just whole new continuity, a whole new title, and they say this is what we're working on, I would try it. My opinion. I mean, I would try it. It just seems interesting to me.
But you have to do it correctly because let us go back to the example of DMC. Mans was like, you know what? New Dante. No. Bad.
That
No
hit
one-
hard.
No one wanted that. And they were like,
That
but look,
hit hard.
shiny new gameplay. That actually is good gameplay. I don't care. Dante, very iconic.
To be fair,
Story not finished.
Well, to be fair, Devil May Cry 4 had Nero. So that does prove a point that if it doesn't have Dante in it, it probably wouldn't work.
Devil May Cry 4 still continued the story, which is why it was less complaints versus DMC, which was controversial. Back to that fancy word.
I mean, who the hell is Nero has been like popping up when that game came around. It was like, who the hell's Nero? It was like, oh, he's the new guy in Devil May Cry. And like, there's no Dante? Like, no, Dante's in there. Dante's in there. But you gotta play as Nero first. And to be honest, Nero was fun. I don't care what anybody says. I love Nero.
Yeah. I thought he was fun. He had a very interesting sword.
He had a very interesting he had the grab. I loved his grab. It was just like
that too, yeah.
Every single monster had a different grab.
Yeah, the engine sword is actually pretty good.
Yep.
I'll be honest. I still defend DMC Devil May Cry for the gameplay alone and the
I know, and that's why it's like the gameplay was perfectly fine. It was perfectly fine. The story reset was not fine. That was the issue.
That wasn't fine. The new Virgil wasn't fine, nor was the new Dante. Like y'all, like we all make fun of Dante, but like, how about like that Virgil though? That Virgil was not the Virgil we know and love either. Not even close.
That was the caring brother, but will do anything he can to get power kind of guy.
Yeah, like he still had the pot, but like super pretentious Virgil. Like, oh my gosh. But anyway, stage design was immaculate. I don't know. Like flying into a TV screen was like probably one of the most.
I really will say that the combat was good. Combat was really good.
Virgil was trash too. Yeah, Virgil was god awful.
He did get himself a DLC, and he worked very well in that DLC. He actually was fun in that DLC.
Again, the gameplay was awesome. Just I don't know. The only thing I got out of the exchange between DMC Devil May Cry from the characters that actually made me chuckle was Dante acting like what he's like my dig's bigger too or something.
Oh no, it was
they
like
had a little pitching contest.
They were having like it's like I'm stronger, I'm smarter, I'm more handsome, I have a bigger dick. It was just like
my dick's bigger too. I genuinely laughed because I'm just like, see, I would be okay with the other two Dante brothers actually having a spat like that. But that was like that was so left field. I was like, all right, I would give
it was fine. It was fine. Like I said, the outside of resetting an unfinished story of a highly iconic character and franchise, the game was fine.
Yeah, and then
he just sinned by doing that. I don't know why you thought like let Street Fighter. Okay, that's a bad example, but like a story. No, I can see. You know what? I can say Street Fighter. If Capcom was just like, you know what? Let's undo all the continuity of Street Fighter and all the characters that we built up so far, and just start from scratch and make a new Street Fighter, have a new Ryu, a new Ken. Let me tell you, Street Fighter fans would not like it. They would not like it. They wouldn't.
Not gonna like it, bro.
You remember the combo?
Like right now? Oh, perfect example. Like Tekken. Tekken's story is about to hit its climax with Tekken 8 when it comes out. If Harada's just like, you know what? Fuck all that. We're gonna do a Tekken reset and replace everybody. Hell would break loose in the fighting game world. Like, what? No.
It kind of did for Soul Calibur, if you think about it. Soul Calibur did that.
Calibur, yes, Soul Calibur did do that, but at least their reasoning was a bit more solid. Like, their story concluded, and they were like, okay, well, now what do? Do we just have a world with no Soul Calibur? Run that bitch back.
Yeah, no. They just had to they had to reset.
No. It's the reset. It's the reset mid climax of the story of an iconic character is when you have problem.
Mm-hmm.
If Devil May Cry had finished before that, it would have been less. It would have been less of an issue.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, it's just the game sells itself on Dante's face nearly, so it's just one of those things where
you have to bring up Soul Calibur. Have to bring up Soul Calibur. I was so invested in that story. I was just like, Chong Wei and Keelik are gonna get together and make these babies. But no, that didn't happen. And then Siegfried, I was just like, yo, Siegfried, he's definitely going to finally kill Soul Edge, because that was his life mission. Nope, he has to hand it down to some kid we don't even fucking know who this kid is, and he just comes out of nowhere. And they tried to do the whole, huh?
It was his son, wasn't it?
No, he has no son. Siegfried doesn't have a son.
That was Sophia's son.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
So
and
Sophia,
like the other main protagonist, it's like Siegfried, Sophia, and Taki, like the 3 top main protagonists.
Yeah, like Sophia though. Sophia is doing some bad stuff because she has like a shard in her, and she wants to protect her children and does all this like dirty shit. And Cassandra's out there trying to stop her.
Before we go into the abyss of like lore of games that people didn't know
I'm done.
about,
I'm done with the whole thing of Soul Calibur because of that.
Just know that Siegfried didn't have kids, because every time he got out of bed with a woman, he was like, I never had such an easy victory. That was the end of that. He just couldn't.
Yo.
I mean, I was really hoping for like Maxie to get like to have like a son. That would have been kind of cool. See Keelik to have like a son, but no, he didn't get a son. He ends up being like some wandering unknown master.
He's the new Edge Master.
Yeah, he's the new Edge Master, so he can play it with all weapons. I'm like, what? No, Keelik is my stick boy. What did you do,
bro? Keelik
I agree with you.
Keelik has earned the right to be Edge Master. My man's went through a lot. Like Keelik's side story is definitely up on par with like Siegfried's. Like Keelik was suffering, and like only Shanghua and Maxie knew.
The only reason why he was really like paining and all that stuff is because he was letting it happen to him. He honestly, Keelik was just so into the madness that I don't know. Like I don't know what they ended that story very early. Like in Soul Calibur like 4, where Shang Wei was just like, listen, you don't have to do all that. Me and Maxie are your best friends, and we're here to stop you. And I was like, oh, okay. So they ended the story. He's with Shang Wei. Oh man, I can't wait to see the next generation. No, she ended up with some like Emperor bullshit, and some girl with a hula hoop shows up. I'm like, what the hell is this weapon?
You thought it was about to be lit this next generation.
No,
man. Soul Calibur did something really weird. Now that I think about it, we don't have to get into it, but like, they ended it. It ended with 5, then it makes 6, but 6 is a reset, huh?
They had to go back to the past. That's effectively what happened.
But effectively, I think, gentlemen, we are at our ending here.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we are. So, guys, where can they find you? In particular, Anima, where can they find you?
Find me on Twitch. Cash me outside. I'm on twitch.tv/theAeonAnima, on YouTube as AeonAnima. I don't make videos yet. Again, I did make some, play around some editing, but don't expect anything there. So just find me on Twitch. I have a Discord. If you do swing by, I can invite you there. You can find me on there. And that's pretty much the end of it for that.
Panic, where can we find you, since we can't see you right now?
Oh, my bad. Hold up.
You can find.
Oh no, this fits. I don't exist.
There you go.
He does not exist except for here, I guess.
Yeah, that's basically correct. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Skeptic? Do you exist?
You can find me and Panic on the podcast, the stream. Most consistent thing ever for him as well, starting right now. You can also find me lurking in a Sync and Anima and Trey streams, working extra hard. You can also find me on Newgrounds. Should I? Yeah,
yes,
same name.
You can find it.
You can find me. You can
find him on Newgrounds.
Under the same name. I was like, wait, is my name the same on Newgrounds? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Like just a Skeptic. Have a little Sprite series. Good animation. Check it out. But
it's MC Skeptic on the grounds.
is it still? Did you check it right now? Check it right now. Okay, I
did
think
you,
right there.
did you wind up changing it?
I might have. That's what that's why I was like,
Let me double check.
Well,
my man's gonna call me out on the spot. But yeah, catch me on the stream.
Yeah, we need to tell our viewers the correct information, right?
And I'm still
True.
This is like week 3 of me saying that we need a social media page for
Oh, right.
all of us.
anyway,
On to talk about what we talked about here on the podcast. You know, any questions, any concerns? Don't say the D word on stream next time, Animal. What are you doing?
this has been Sync Weaver. You can catch me here on this particular channel, Twitch, Sync Weaver. Eventually, we will have a separate channel, a separate Twitch, YouTube for Apartment 814. That will come into the future, and all other assets and things. But
It's still MC Skeptic. Sorry, Sync.
there it is.
MC dash Skeptic.
So, with that being said, thank you for
Can't
dropping
have
by. Thank you for dropping by the Apartment 814. You can catch us here on SoundCloud as well as Spotify. Please support us on there. Seeing results on Spotify and SoundCloud will also help us, I guess you could say, strive and progress through what we are doing now. So we deeply appreciate it. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for sitting around with us. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Deuces.
Cortana, stop the countdown, please.